All of the elements of matter in all states of motion are but orderly and periodic variations of the one substance, light. As there are innumerable states of motion of the substance of light, so also are there innumerable so-called speeds of light. All of the elements of matter are spread out progressively in varying states of simultaneously decelerative and accelerative motion in opposition on the 10-octave waves, like successive tones of music. All motion in opposition is simultaneous in its opposition. The state of luminosity belongs to all of the elements and varies with the state of integration of each element. It is periodic and orderly in its variation, as the elements are periodic and variable in their integrative weight or mass. Matter which is apparently non-luminous is simply matter which has become sufficiently retarded generatively and sufficiently expanded radiatively to bring it below the range of motion in opposition, which produces the appearance of luminosity. All solids in matter are but integrated light, the generative units of which are sufficiently retarded in their motion, and their resistance to integration sufficiently extended in magnetic orbits to bring them below the range of the state of apparent luminosity. And then to read what is under the chart, it says, matter is an appearance due to a preponderance of electric force. It disappears through a preponderance of magnetic force. Next chapter, thinking is registered in matter. It has elsewhere been written that matter is the registration of the divine ideal of thinking mind. Man is familiar with the thinking process in his daily experiences. Consider for a moment the concentrative thinking of man in conceiving ideal. Is not the ideal at first nebulous? And as man concentrates electrically in his thinking, is not the ideal more and more distinct in form? And does not that form remain clear and distinct so long as man concentrates dynamically upon thinking that ideal? When man's concentration relaxes, does not the ideal become more and more nebulous in form and more indistinct until it is but a memory? Just so with the thinking of the one universal mind. The concentration of all mind is electro-positively registered in motion, and its intensity and relaxation of intensity are chemically noted in states of motion of the very mind substance which performs the action and reaction of the thinking process. The intense concentrated expression of ideal in generative thinking is chemically registered in definite, distinct, rigid form, while the relaxed, less intense, expanding expression of ideal in electronegative, radiative thinking is chemically registered in indefinite, indistinct, nebulous form. If the universal mind is without form within itself, if its light units and mass are but appearances of form due to motion and not to substance, so also is mind in its entirety without form or shape or size. The universe of mind is neither bounded nor boundless, for it has no extension or continuity. Apparent separability is a necessary quality in creating the illusion of a universe of extension and continuation. The one substance of divine mind is non-separable, non-extendable, and non-continuous. The apparent parts of mind have an apparent relationship to one another. As the appearance of separability of the mind substance is but an effect of motion, then also is the appearance of relationship of one apparent part to another but an illusion due to motion. Relationship of matter is but an appearance, and has no existence, and that which man calls relativity is but an illusion, just as that which man calls perspective is but an illusion. Relativity is the science of an illusion in 4 dimensions, as perspective is in 3. God is light. Light, as man knows light, is but an unstable simulation of the real light of the Universal One. Man's concept of light is luminosity, and an illusion of the universal light of inertia, sustained in its appearance as an illusion of light by the pressures generated through motion. The inner mind of a static man knows the real light, and that he is one with light. He is not deceived by its illusion. Next chapter. Concerning appearances. During man's evolution in a universe of motion, the complexity of appearances had bewildered him into forming wrong concepts of reality and unreality. Man's life has been given so ardently to the observance of complex phenomena of appearance that appearances have become his facts, and the one reality has become mere conjecture. Man thinks of dependability in terms of solids, those apparent things which respond to his senses. His dependable reality is form in matter. Man thinks undependability in terms of things etheric, those things which do not respond to his senses. His unreality is spirit. Man must learn to alter his concept of the reality of solidity to the reality of mind as the source of the illusion of that solidity. He must learn that the one substance of mind is the only reality. He must learn to consider form as only an appearance of reality in a lower octave of the material substance of mind, over which he has control within the limitations of mind. He must learn to consider matter as the substance of mind, and form in matter as but the registration of his thinking. He must learn that he is mind, and that mind is omnipresent, omnipotent, and omnipotent. Until man learns that he is mind, he will be the slave of the illusions of mind, instead of which he may be their master and a creator of these illusions. Man's universe is a universe of motion. Man's body is an aggregate of particles in motion. Man is accustomed to motion. His mind is adjusted to apparent facts of matter, which cannot be actual facts, for they are all conditioned by space, time, and motion. A conditioned fact cannot be a fact. It merely appears to be a fact. That a certain ball weighs a pound is a conditioned fact. Apparently the ball does weigh that much. The fact is conditioned upon keeping the ball at the same distance from the ground. Lift it 1 foot and it weighs less than a pound. Keep it at the same height and still its weight varies with the movement of the stars in space. That a ball drops to the ground in a vertical line is a conditional fact. Apparently, the ball does drop straight toward the earth. In reality, the line is curved, the curve being conditioned by the rotation of the earth and its movement through space. This ideal may be clarified by imagining a man suddenly created, full-grown, and highly educated. This man differs from other men only in one respect. He has not had a lifetime during which to adjust his mind to the relativity of things in his universe of motion, as others have had. He knows all the supposed facts of things, but he has still to learn that their apparent relationships. He has yet to find that things seem to be what he knows they are not. Such a man would find himself in a most bewildering world, a world of very complex effects of very simple causes.